family, the biggest problem in Africa is the disunity amongst different African countries. We all know how hard it is to travel within Africa than outside of Africa as an African. So guys, we all have seen the events that have been happening in South Africa, where Chidimma, who was born in South Africa by a dad who is Nigerian and a mom who's from Mozambique, she was denied an opportunity to represent their country in the final of the Mr. and Mrs. World South Africa, where most South Africans have been saying that Chidimma doesn't deserve to represent them. She's more of Nigerian than she is South African. And remember guys that Chidimma was born in South Africa. Let us watch this video, then get back, do a critical analysis of the same. Let's watch this.
Something awful has happened in South Africa involving South African model Chidimma Vanessa Onwe Adetshina, who is an entrant and actually has become a contestant on Miss South Africa. She has been attacked mercilessly and awfully bullied and insulted by people saying that she's not really South African. Chidimma was born and raised in South Africa. She was raised in Soweto. She was born at Chris Baragwanath Hospital to a South African mother and a Nigerian father, but many South Africans are now saying based on her appearance and her name, she's not actually South African, even though she quite literally is when you consider being South African is just, are you a citizen of this country? Are you born here, raised here, have a valid ID? Then you're a citizen. She is a citizen. But a lot of people are pointing out that it's not just xenophobia, the fear of the foreigner, it's specifically Afrophobia happening here, because it's the fear and hatred of African immigrants, even though she's not an immigrant, African people in South Africa, tying into conversations that have been stoked up and led by politicians who've now got lots of votes and got elected, that foreigners are coming in and stealing the jobs and committing all the crimes and all this evil stuff, which is overwhelmingly not supported by facts or data. Here's another Miss South Africa contestant. This is her third time entering Miss South Africa. Her name is Sherry Wang. There have been some weird messages and awful messages about her, but not nearly the same level of mass fury and mass vitriol against her being in Miss South Africa at all. And she's a South African citizen. This outrage is very selective. There's very little actual outrage teetering into xenophobia against Europeans coming here, Americans coming to South Africa. But when it is somebody of African parenting, and this outrage is actually so selective and often inconsistent because, for example, Tendai Mtawarira is one of the most beloved and iconic South African rugby players ever, born and raised in Zimbabwe, but a South African citizen. Roger Federer, we love to claim, because I think one of his parents is South African and he was born in Johannesburg, even though meaningfully he's Swiss, and yet Trevor Noah is playing tennis with him and he's being treated like one of South Africa's sons. This is the exact problem when politicians take advantage of immigrants to try and scapegoat why many South Africans' lives remain so awful so long after apartheid. They blame foreigners, immigrants, so that they don't have to take responsibility themselves for their own failings, and they outsource the fury to the most vulnerable, who are often immigrants trying to make it in this country. And this is the consequence of all of that behavior.
Dear black people, I think we need to chat. It may not be my place, so forgive me, but I am simply an innocent observer. So I need to tell you this. I always asked, why is Africa the most exploited continent in the world? Have you noticed? There's a statistic that says for every dollar that arrives into Africa, $20 to $50 leaves the continent. Did you know that? Yes, I'm sure you are aware. This is why it frustrates me that when I see this news. It says here, South African model Chidimma Vanessa Onwe, she entered into Miss SA, and the amount of hatred and vitriol she received from other black people, saying no, she cannot enter. She's Nigerian. She cannot be South African. I mean, why? Are you aware of Sherry Wang? She's of Chinese descent, and she's entered the competition and no one is saying anything. What's that about? I don't know how they did it. I'm referring to every non-African country or organization that have vested financial interest in Africa. I don't know how they did it, but over the years, many of it, decades, maybe even centuries, have convinced you to hate each other more than anyone else. Do you know that even we praise people who steal from African continent? People who live in amazing mansions, who are exploiting workers, and we treat them with more respect than the fellow African. Oh my God. You need to understand that having you in conflict, having you fight each other is in their best interest, because every time you fight, they take your resources under your feet for filthy cheap. They are getting wealthier every single day while you are struggling, while you deserve the wealth that Africa has. If you don't realize that you are one people under this continent, where borders were artificially created by other countries in order to separate you. They convinced you that Zimbabweans and South Africans and Mozambicans are different. They told you that. Until you realize it and rise up, until you acknowledge this problem, we cannot move forward. You know what? Now I realized the future and definitely the prosperity of Africa is in your hands and no one else. But you've got to wake up first.
Family, this issue of Chidimma is more of political than you all do think. Many a times in South Africa, they normally like to push the agenda of illegal immigrants. You know, right now they're saying that Chidimma did not have legal papers to be a citizen of South Africa. And when you go to the rules that are there that are set by the beauty pageant contest, you must have to prove your citizenship for you to be able to participate. We've seen a lady who has Chinese descent, but nobody has battered her online. Nobody has disturbed her. But when it comes to our fellow black sister, we start saying that no, she's not South African. She's more of Nigerian than South African. What's that, man? What is that? You know, when it comes to any other race, we do not have a problem. Some guy has mentioned that it's not xenophobic anymore. It's Afrophobic. You do not want people who are Africans from different countries to shine in South Africa. We understand that Chidimma was born in South Africa. Her case is different, but there's a rot in South Africa when it comes to matters African unity. That's why people like Mandela, no, not Mandela, this guy who wanted to be the next president of South Africa, forgot his name, the EFF leader, you know, he's been pushing for a united Africa. And most of the reason as to why he was not voted in to be the next president of South Africa is because he was pushing for a borderless Africa. Most South Africans do not like these ideologies. Most South Africans are selfish with their country. They feel like other black people from other countries in Africa are taking what is theirs. But that's a lie. You know, those are ideologies that are being pushed by wrong leaders in South Africa. They want to drift their attention from the main issues. They should be instead working for you guys. They should ensure that all systems are working, but instead they're trying to divide us and just distract us. It was so wrong for Chidimma not to represent South Africa in the final beauty pageant because of outreach from other people in South Africa. It is so wrong for someone to come out and decide to fight for a position that she thinks can represent her country. Then in the final, you start battering her. You start telling her that she does not deserve to represent you. You know, all this stuff is wrong. It is unacceptable. No, guys. South Africans, no. I also have a friend who participated in the beauty pageant here in Kenya. He's part His parents comes from Tanzania, but he was born in Kenya. But he went all the way to the final, you know. He was born in Kenya. He has papers that shows that he's actually Kenyan. I'd want to know that if he won the beauty pageant, could Kenyans come and tell him that now we understand that your parents are not Kenyan. We want our contest back. You cannot represent us, you know, in the world stage. You know, it is wrong. I just do not know how the family of Chidimma is feeling and herself, because she put herself outside there to represent her country. The one thing that is funny, the lady who won the Mrs. World South Africa is actually a white lady. I understand she's South African, but when it comes to a different race, there's no problem. But when it's a black person, there must be a problem. Yo, we should stop this, man. Let us listen this one video and then we shall end the video after a critical analysis. Let's listen to this.
The South African government says an investigation has revealed that the mother of Miss South Africa 2024 contestant Chidimma Adetshina may have committed identity theft. According to government, Adetshina's mother is suspected of stealing the identity details of another South African woman and using the stolen details to register the then young Adetshina. The model's registration at birth meant she would gain citizenship by birth. Adetshina was born in 2001. Under South African law, a person born to a South African citizen or permanent resident of South Africa is granted citizenship by birth. Adetshina's mother is said to be originally from the neighboring Mozambique. How she acquired South African citizenship is now the subject of investigation. South Africa's Department of Home Affairs said in a statement on Wednesday, August 7th, that an innocent South African mother whose identity may have been stolen as part of the alleged fraud committed by Adetshina's mother suffered as a result because she could not register her child. The department added that it had broadened its investigation to identify and pursue any officials involved in the alleged fraudulent scheme. The agency further said it was seeking legal advice on the implications of the alleged fraudulent activity on Adetshina's citizenship status. The government said it intends to press criminal charges against all implicated parties and that Adetshina's mother was among those being questioned by authorities. The Department of Home Affairs said throughout the process, it will uphold the rule of law as well as the rights of all parties. Adetshina was among the top 13 models seeking to represent South Africa at the next global beauty pageant. Initial government records indicated she was born in South Africa's Johannesburg city to a South African mother of Mozambique roots and a Nigerian father. Adetshina's candidature in the Miss South Africa Beauty Contest has drawn mixed reactions, with a number of people questioning her nationality. According to Miss South Africa entry...
Family, this is just too much to take in. It's clear that she was born in South Africa. I just want to listen to nothing more. You know, she was born in South Africa and that's it. It was so wrong for South Africans and for the authorities to even disturb her and start investigating her. If she was born in South Africa, that's final. If they have proof that she was born in South Africa, that means she's a citizen of South Africa and she can be able to represent South Africa on a global stage in the Miss World. That was so wrong. I just want to express my heartfelt, I'm so disappointed, man. Chidimma, you're a star. This is the time that you should be more prouder to be South African than any other time, because you are South African and you went outside there, out of your comfort zone to represent your country. Just leave other people to talk, but you did your part. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly do consider subscribing to this channel for amazing black stories in Africa and in the diaspora. I'd be so grateful if you also comment down below and let me know what you think about this video. and I'll be super grateful if you subscribe. See you all in my next video. Goodbye for now.